Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic. Now today I'm going to be looking at another military vehicle that I'm going to be adding to my collection. This is the Apc Mark III, also known as the Sly Apc. Now, since this is an armored personnel carrier, it doesn't pack the biggest punch. The biggest weapon it's got on it is a 20mm. Now, this is enough to protect the vehicle from any sort of tank or other armored vehicle, but it's not meant to really destroy anything. It's not meant to be on the offensive. And it has an additional machine gun as well, a part of its armament, but it is mostly meant to just move troops around, and as a result it has a rather large crew compartment. If we head to the back here, we do have a quick ramp that can deploy, and we can walk straight on in. Now there are 6 seats for crew, as well as 1 for the driver/gunner. And from here you can also see all of the mechanical components of the vehicle, all of the engines and logic. So quickly looking at the passenger compartment, you will notice these are the 4x4 seats rather than the 3x3 seats. Now there is a reason for this. The 3x3 seats have a habit of shooting the character out of the roof rather easily, whereas the 4x4 seats usually try and throw the character forward into the compartment and this walking space. So if I hop in this and hop out, it'll throw me forward and into this space. Whereas if you're using the 3x3 little bike seats, it will usually send you up through the roof, which is something you do not want. Now, unfortunately, there is a lot of the floor showing, but that's simply to make this as compact as I possibly could. And if we quickly grab the other Apc, we can compare them in size. So here we have a Guardian Apc just for comparison. And you will notice that the Sly is a little bit wider, but since it does not have the additional turret on top, it is significantly shorter. The bodies themselves are about the same height. Now the Guardian used a 8x8 system that had 4 steering wheels and 4 driving wheels, all of which drove, of course, but steering wheel is steered. Now the Apc Mark III only has tank drive. So let's go ahead and hop in and move this around a little bit so you guys can get a better idea. Now you do have to close the lift manually. There are switches here, here, and on the front of the door when you're on the outside. Hopping in, just a simple WASD system like all of my tanks use. And we also have the turret on my standard controls. So 1 is left, 2 is up, 3 is down, 4 right, 5 is the little main gun, the 20mm, and 6 is the machine gun. So if we aim for the round that should be in the Guardian, we might be able to hit it. Which I'm not actually sure if the Guardian comes loaded or not. I don't think it does. Now, reloading this gun is rather easy. You do have to get out of the vehicle, but you do have 6 shots, so there's a kind of trade-off there. Simply drag cardboard, and I prefer to use these T pieces rather than the I pieces for one simple reason, and that is consistency. These work a little bit better when it comes to consistency. If you use just the normal pipes, sometimes you will have rounds that go into random directions. A lot of times it's a vertical randomness, so some rounds go farther than others, which can make it a bit hard to aim and consistently hit your vehicle. Now, you may have noticed something throughout this recording. There are 3 vehicles here. 1 is the vehicle I am driving, the 2nd is the Guardian, and the 3rd is a vehicle sitting right over there on the other side of the hill. That is another Sly Apc. One thing about this is since the gun is so high, since the gun is on its own little independent turret, and since there is such a nice slope on the front of this vehicle, you have a lot of gun depression. This allows you to pretty much poke your head over just about any hill you want to and shoot over it, which is what we're doing there. Now it's probably a little harder to see when we're actually sat down here. That can still hit me where I'm standing, but once you get into a vehicle, it's a bit more obvious where it is, just because we have a much higher camera position. So if we come over here to where it is, the gun is really the only thing visible over the hill, and the rest of the vehicle can hide. Now, like I said, this is not meant for any sort of offensive capabilities, but it is kind of a cool feature for something that is intended to keep a crew safe. It can shoot over hills really easily. Even though it may not have the biggest armament, it can still defend itself. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. I didn't really mention it, but it does have a first-person view slot, which is kind of cool. But overall, really happy with how it turned out. The 20mm is going to be added to my arsenal, something that I'm going to be adding on a lot of new vehicles. Tanks are probably going to use it as a secondary or a third weapon, whereas things like my APCs might be using it more often as a primary to kind of get rid of the canister-based weapons. Yes, I know canister-based weapons are usually more effective, but these 20mm do their job with a very compact package. So, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Enjoy the channel, enjoy what I'm doing. Please subscribe, it helps out a lot. And right now, shares help the channel the most. So if you do want to help out the channel, please share this episode with a friend. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, thanks for sticking around, and until next time, peace.